In 1978, a German engineer named Heinz Leiber stood in a test facility and watched a car brake to a stop on a wet road without skidding. It had happened before, but this time there was no driver skill involved. No careful modulation of the brake pedal, no experience or training. The car did it automatically, using a system that had taken over a decade to develop and had required solving engineering problems that most people in the automotive industry believed were unsolvable. That system was the anti-lock braking system, ABS, and in the decades since that test, it has saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Today we are going to show you exactly how it works. To understand ABS, you first need to understand the fundamental physics of braking, and specifically why locking your wheels is one of the worst things that can happen when you need to stop quickly. When you press the brake pedal in a car without ABS, the braking force applied to the wheels increases progressively. At low braking force, the tires slow their rotation while still rolling freely on the road surface. And the friction between the tire and the road generates a braking force that decelerates the car. This is called rolling friction, and it is the most effective way to use the tire's grip. But if you press the brake pedal too hard, if the braking force exceeds the maximum grip available between the tire and the road surface, the wheels stop rotating entirely. They lock, and the moment a wheel locks, something critical changes. The car is no longer braking through rolling friction. It is sliding. And sliding friction is significantly lower than rolling friction. A locked wheel generates less braking force than a rolling wheel, meaning that locking your brakes actually makes your stopping distance longer, not shorter. A car with locked wheels takes more distance to stop than a car with wheels that are still rolling. But the stopping distance problem is not even the most dangerous consequence of wheel lock. The catastrophic consequence is the loss of steering. When a tire is rolling, even under heavy braking, it can still generate lateral force. That lateral force is what allows you to steer. When you turn the steering wheel, the front tires generate a lateral force that turns the car. But a locked, sliding tire cannot generate lateral force. It can only slide in the direction it is already moving. This means that if your front wheels lock under braking, turning the steering wheel has absolutely no effect. The car goes straight, regardless of where the front wheels are pointing. You have lost all steering control. And in an emergency situation where you are braking hard to avoid an obstacle, the loss of steering is often more dangerous than the extended stopping distance. This is the problem that ABS was designed to solve. The principle behind ABS is elegant in its simplicity. Instead of allowing the wheels to lock completely, ABS modulates the braking force, releasing it slightly before lockup occurs, then reapplying it, then releasing again, at a rate of between 10 and 15 times per second. By keeping the wheels in the threshold zone just below lockup, where rolling friction is at its maximum, ABS achieves the shortest possible stopping distance while simultaneously maintaining the tire's ability to generate lateral force and preserve steering control. The driver simply holds the brake pedal firmly to the floor and steers around the obstacle. The ABS system handles everything else automatically, cycling the brakes far faster than any human being could manage manually. The engineering that makes this possible consists of 4 key components working together in a continuous feedback loop. The wheel speed sensors, one at each wheel, are the eyes of the system. Each sensor consists of a toothed ring attached to the wheel hub and a magnetic pickup that generates an electrical pulse every time a tooth passes it. The faster the wheel rotates, the faster the pulses, giving the ABS control unit a precise, continuous measurement of each wheel's rotational speed. The ABS control unit, a dedicated electronic control unit, receives the speed signals from all 4 wheels simultaneously and compares them continuously. When the control unit detects that one wheel is decelerating significantly faster than the others, the telltale sign that it is about to lock, it triggers the hydraulic modulator. The hydraulic modulator is the mechanical heart of the ABS system, a valve block containing electronically controlled solenoid valves that can open and close in milliseconds to modify the hydraulic pressure in each brake circuit independently. By rapidly cycling between hold, release, and reapply modes, the modulator keeps the braking force at each wheel in the optimal zone just below lockup. The entire cycle, detection, calculation, response, happens in less than 20 milliseconds. It repeats up to 15 times per second. The driver feels it as a rapid pulsing or buzzing sensation through the brake pedal, the physical signature of the system working at its maximum capability. One of the most demanding situations for any ABS system is what engineers call a split-mu surface, where the left and right wheels of the car are on surfaces with dramatically different levels of grip simultaneously. Imagine braking hard with your left wheels on dry tarmac and your right wheels on ice. Without ABS, the wheel on ice would lock instantly, while the wheel on tarmac would continue rolling, creating a massive braking force imbalance that would spin the car violently. With ABS, the system detects the difference in deceleration between the left and right wheels and modulates each independently, applying maximum braking to the high grip side while carefully managing the low grip side to prevent lockup. The car slows down in a straight line rather than spinning. On snow and ice, ABS behavior is actually counterintuitive. On loose surfaces like deep snow or gravel, a locked wheel can build up a wedge of material in front of it that actually helps slow the car faster than a rolling wheel. For this reason, some manufacturers program their ABS systems to allow a small amount of wheel lock on loose surfaces, a mode sometimes called snow mode or off-road mode. On hard ice, where the coefficient of friction is extremely low, ABS still prevents lockup and preserves steering. But stopping distances can be dramatically longer than on dry tarmac, no matter how sophisticated the ABS system. Understanding the limits of ABS in different surface conditions is one of the most important aspects of advanced driver training, because many drivers assume that ABS will always stop them as quickly as possible, regardless of the surface beneath them. Subscribe now, because what we are about to show you is how ABS evolved from a basic braking aid into the foundation of every active safety system in your car. The development of ABS was one of the most technically demanding projects in automotive engineering history, and it nearly failed multiple times before it succeeded. The concept of automatic brake modulation had been understood since the 1950s, but translating the concept into a reliable, affordable, production-ready system required solving three separate engineering problems simultaneously. The first problem was sensing. Early wheel speed sensors were unreliable, producing false signals from electrical interference, vibration, and temperature extremes. The sensors needed to work accurately in every condition, in freezing temperatures, in the heat of a racing brake, covered in mud, submerged in water. It took years of development before sensors reliable enough for production use were available. The second problem was computation. ABS requires processing speed signals from 4 wheels simultaneously, detecting the onset of lockup before it actually occurs, and calculating the correct response, all within milliseconds. In the 1960s and early 1970s, the only computers capable of this speed were room-sized mainframes. The development of the microprocessor in the early 1970s was what finally made ABS feasible, giving engineers a computing platform powerful enough to run the control algorithm in real time, small enough to fit in a car, and cheap enough to put into production. The third problem was the hydraulic modulator. The solenoid valves needed to cycle hundreds of thousands of times without failure, respond in milliseconds, and modulate brake pressure with extraordinary precision, all while withstanding the vibration, temperature, and contamination of a real automotive environment. Early modulators were large, heavy, expensive, and unreliable. It took a decade of refinement before they were ready for production. The first production car to offer ABS as standard equipment was the 1978 Mercedes-Benz S-Class, equipped with the Bosch ABS system that Heinz Leiber's team had developed. It was expensive, adding the equivalent of several $1,000s to the price of the car. It was heavy. The early system added over 10 kilograms to the vehicle, and it was complex, requiring specialist training to diagnose and repair. But it worked. And in the years that followed, the spread of ABS through the automotive industry was shaped by forces that nobody had fully anticipated. In motorsport, ABS was adopted rapidly. Formula One teams recognized immediately that a system capable of keeping braking at the absolute limit of tire grip could provide a significant lap time advantage. By the late 1980s, ABS was standard on most Formula One cars. The performance advantage was so significant that the FIA, the governing body of Formula One, banned ABS from the sport in 1994, ruling that it gave too great an advantage to cars with better systems and reduced the skill element of driving. This decision reflected a tension that has never been fully resolved in motorsport, between technology that makes cars faster and technology that reduces the importance of driver skill. In the road car market, the spread of ABS followed a different logic, driven by insurance data showing dramatic reductions in accident severity. Several major manufacturers made ABS standard across their entire range during the late 1980s and early 1990s. BMW standardized ABS across all models in 1987. Toyota introduced it widely across its Japanese domestic market cars in the early 1990s. By the mid-1990s, any car sold without ABS was considered dangerously outdated by safety-conscious buyers in Europe, Japan, and North America. The impact of ABS on road safety has been profound, but more complex than the original engineers anticipated. Studies consistently show that ABS dramatically reduces the frequency and severity of accidents in which steering control is lost under heavy braking, exactly the scenario it was designed for. On dry roads, ABS reduces stopping distances and allows drivers to steer around obstacles while braking, a capability that simply did not exist before. On wet or icy roads, the benefit is even more dramatic, because the difference between rolling friction and sliding friction is much larger on slippery surfaces, and because the loss of steering control at lower speeds is even more dangerous. However, researchers also found an unexpected effect. Some drivers, knowing their car had ABS, drove more aggressively and braked later than they would have without it. This behavioral response, called risk compensation or the Peltzman effect, partially offset the safety gains of the technology. The lesson was important. Safety technology saves lives, but it also changes driver behavior in ways that engineers cannot always predict. ABS was not just a safety system in its own right. It was the technological foundation on which every subsequent active safety system in the modern car was built. Electronic stability control, ESC, which detects and corrects oversteer and understeer by applying individual wheel brakes, could not exist without ABS traction control, which prevents wheel spin under acceleration by modulating brake pressure and engine torque, uses the same wheel speed sensors and hydraulic modulator as ABS. Electronic brake force distribution, EBD, which automatically adjusts the braking force between front and rear axles depending on load, is an extension of ABS software running on the same hardware. Emergency brake assist, which detects a panic braking input and automatically applies maximum braking force, is integrated into the same system. And the autonomous emergency braking systems now standard on new cars, which can detect an imminent collision and apply full braking force without any driver input, are the direct descendants of the ABS concept, extended by cameras, radar, and artificial intelligence. Every time a modern car's safety system intervenes to prevent an accident, it is using technology that traces its lineage directly back to that wet road test in Germany in 1978. The ABS system in your car today is almost unrecognizably more sophisticated than the system Heinz Leiber demonstrated in 1978. Modern ABS control units process data from wheel speed sensors, steering angle sensors, yaw rate sensors, lateral acceleration sensors, and brake pressure sensors, hundreds of inputs per second, using algorithms of extraordinary complexity to optimize braking performance in every conceivable situation. The system knows whether you are braking in a straight line or mid-corner. It knows the weight distribution of the car at the moment of braking. It knows the difference between a sudden emergency stop and a gradual controlled deceleration, and it adjusts its response accordingly, maximizing braking performance while maintaining stability and steering control in every situation. The system that started as a single-function anti-lock mechanism has evolved into the central nervous system of the modern car's entire safety architecture. The next time you brake hard and feel that rapid pulsing through the pedal, that buzzing sensation that tells you the system is working, think about what is happening beneath you. 4 wheel speed sensors measuring rotation hundreds of times per second. An electronic control unit processing those measurements and detecting the first signs of lockup before your foot could react. Solenoid valves cycling open and closed 15 times every second, modulating the hydraulic pressure in each brake circuit with millisecond precision, all of it happening automatically, invisibly, in the fraction of a second between pressing the pedal and the car stopping safely. That is ABS. It does not make headlines. It does not appear in car advertisements. But in the 50 years since that test in Germany, it has quietly saved more lives than almost any other engineering invention in automotive history.